Hi there, my name's Kate, and this is my Easter tree demonstration. Um, I'm a crafter. I do all sorts of little crafts. I've been making stuff since forever. I have a Facebook page, What Kate Made, Kate's Design and Craft, and that's where I put all my little crafty things I do. Today, I'm going to show you how to decorate an Easter tree. Easter trees seem to be something that have become a lot more popular lately. The first one I saw was the place where my mum lives is like a complex of flats, and in their recreation area, they had a beautiful one. It wouldn't have been last year, it would have been the year before. We're in lockdown last year. So I decided this year I would make my own Easter tree just to give myself a little bit of a boost at this time of year. So you can see it's in the background behind me. So I'm just going to move out your way and then I can show you it in a bit more detail. So this is my tree. I'll move the chair and then it's made from some branches that I found in the hedge bottom, scavenging. They were a nice shape, so I thought they'd be good. What I've done is bound them together. There was two, and I bound them together here, and I covered this bit in masking tape and then sprayed the whole thing gold. I've got lots of eggs hung on it now because I have been making them. So I'm just going to take two or three off to just show you what you can make and what we're going to make today. Where's the other one I want to show you? Oops. So I'll sit myself back down and then you can see these a bit better. Right, I'm back. So just a few things. This little one has just been just been decoupaged with tissue paper. So it's watered down PVA glue and then covered in a sort of collage of little bits of tissue paper. This one's blue and green and yellow, which I thought were nice spring-like colours. And I've just added a nice bit of green sparkly thread as a hanger. The other one I've got here is one of my favourite crafts is crochet. I've crocheted all my life. So this one I have crocheted and I've just I've used a basic egg underneath. It's a plastic egg with a hanger already on it, and I've crocheted the cover for it. So again, it's the same spring-like colours, yellow and green and blue. The three I'm going to show you today are this one, the fabulous Faberge egg, as I call it. So it's very luxurious. It's gold with pearls and beautiful silken cord. So it is a little bit of luxury. The second one is the 3D paper egg, which is made with craft paper. And as you can see, it's got a nice sort of egg shape and a ribbon hanger on it. And the third one is just the more simple. It's just two-sided. So it's got a piece of, I've used jute string on that one because that's quite nice and rustic. And as you can see, this is a piece of double-sided card. It's got a different pattern on either side. But if you haven't got double-sided cards, you can just use craft papers and cut two out and stick them together. So those are what we're going to make today. As regards what you will need, I've used for my eggs, where are they? I used polystyrene eggs for the ones that I've shown you, not the paper ones, obviously. The pack I bought is a mixed pack. I got it off Amazon. If you look on my Facebook page, I think there's a link to where I got it from. That's the biggest one, which is just bigger than a hen's egg. And this is the smallest one, which is very, very small. It's about the size of slightly bigger than a Cadbury's mini egg. But, you know, they're great. You can use these for all sorts of things. You can paint them, which is what I've done. One of the ones I've done, I had some emulsion that was like a sort of duck egg blue. And so I have used these and I've put little dots on them and made them look like proper eggs, like birds' eggs. On the back behind me, there are several that I've painted with acrylic paint and then just put bits of ribbon and lace around them. The one I'm going to use for the Faberge egg is I've painted it gold. This is acrylic gold paint that I've brushed on. I wanted to spray paint it, but a little cautionary tale for you. This is what happens when you spray paint polystyrene. And you see that? It looks like the surface of the moon. It's got all cratered. The spray paint melts the polystyrene. This one I actually painted with PVA glue beforehand because I thought maybe putting a layer on would stop it doing it, but it still did it. So don't use spray paint. Okay, so I think we're about ready to get started with our first egg. So as I said before, we're going to do one like this, the fabulous Faberge egg. You can see it's gold spray paint, sorry, not spray paint, but acrylic paint brushed on, like I showed you before. A very nice silken twisted cord. I've put little pearls all the way around it. So there's a piece of cord there, and then the little pearls sit above it. At the bottom here, there's another pearl that's attached with a dressmaker's pin with a pearl head. So that's what we're going to do first. So for this, we will need our egg. Another good tip is cocktail sticks, polystyrene. It's brilliant for just holding the egg where you need it. When I get started, I'm going to point the camera down so you can see what's going on. Our cord. So this is my cord. This is actually a silver one because I thought it might make a bit of a contrast. You will need glue. Now I'm going to use a glue gun today because it's quicker and it dries quickly and it holds everything really well. What you don't want is to have to wait for glue to dry, especially when you're doing the demo. You will also need some scissors to cut the cord, some dressmaker's pins. These are the plain ones with no head on, just the metals. We use those to attach things to your egg, mostly the hanger. Because of the polystyrene, they will go in. They're very good. What else do I need? I need some ribbon to make my hanger. And I think that's everything we're going to need. Okay. Oh, beads. I've got some beads here. I've got a mixture of like pearl beads and like an iridescent pearly one. And what I'm going to do is just tip those out into the lid so that I'll be able to pick them up. That is the most fiddly bit of the whole process, is picking up the beads. Right, I'm just going to point the camera down towards my hand so you can see what I'm doing. Just bear with me a second. My tripod's a bit stiff today. Okay, can you see my hands? Yes, you can. So if anybody's out there and actually watching me, it would be nice to have a few comments just so that I know I'm not talking to myself. That's the thing with these, you always think you're talking to yourself. So here's our egg. I don't know whether you can see that, but there is a slight join around this egg. I think it's probably where the mould's been put in. That is really, really useful because you can glue your cord round there and get it straight. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it back in the polystyrene to hold it, measure my cord round. So I'm going to just turn that slightly so you can see it better what I'm doing. So the cord wants to come round and just meet. I'm just going to trim that end off because it has got a little thread from where it's sat in the drawer. The reason we want it to just meet, we don't want any overlap, is because it's quite bulky, this cord, and what you don't want is a big bump. So I'm just going to measure that round, just so I get the right length. So just so it meets there, and then just cut through. Nice sharp pair of scissors, otherwise you'll end up with a very frayed end. Move that out of the way. So we're going to hot glue this on. I'm just going to check my glue's ready because I add it onto heat. Oh yeah, definitely. Right, what I would do is just start in one spot and just put one dab of glue and then start your cord. Just because the hot glue sets quite quickly. So it will set as you go. So what I'm going to do is try and get this so that you can see what I'm doing. So there's a line around here that I'm going to follow with the glue. And what I'm going to do is just put a little dab every now and then. I'm not going to put loads of glue on because it doesn't need it to hold it and you don't want to make a mess. It can be quite messy, hot glue. It can do that. It pulls strands like you see with toffee almost. Don't worry because once it's set, you'll be able to pull them off. So I'll just keep going so that my cord comes all the way around and meets back at the beginning again. I'm not going to worry too much about strands of glue, as I said, because I can fix that later. I might just put one more dot before we get back to the end. Or I should say back to the beginning. So there you can see your two pieces of cord just meet up there. And what I would be tempted to do, mine's slightly long, I'm just going to trim a tiny bit off it. If you find when you get to that end it's too short, you can always stick a bead over that bit when you come to doing your beads. So I'm just going to cut a tiny bit off. Put a little bit more glue on the end there to hold the two pieces together. And there we go. Oh, be careful with hot glue. As the name implies, it is hot. I think I'm just going to pop a light on so we can see a little bit better. That's a bit better. It's a bit of a dark day today, considering it's supposed to be spring. Now, what I said before about these hairy bits that come off the glue, you can just pull them off. Don't worry about it. You can tidy it all up once you've finished with your glue. So there we go. We've now got our cord round. And you can see it goes all the way around. So the next step is to put the beads on. We're sticking on beads on a round thing like this because, even on a flat surface, you want to get them quite evenly spaced. So if you start at one end and work your way along, you could get to the end and find that you haven't got enough room to put the last bead in. So what I tend to do is put my beads on, 4 beads on, so at sort of 4 points to make it into 4 quarters. So it's fairly even. So I'm going to start that now. My beads, as you can see, I've got white pearls and I've got these very small, like clear iridescent beads. So what I'm going to do is alternate them, possibly make a nice pattern out of them, but I'm going to use my little white pearls to do my quarter marks. So first of all, I'll start here. Little dab of glue and pop the bead on. Okay, you can see that. Then make a quarter turn and do another one. Although you might find it easy to do a full half turn, and then you can, so I'm going to do the one nearest me now. Just make sure we are getting them even. Oops, see, beads going everywhere. There. Right, so you can see I've got them opposite each other. And then do the same to divide it into quarters. So I'll put the one on the back. I knew this would be a fingers and thumbs job. One on the back, and then I shall put one on the front, directly opposite it. Once you've got it divided into quarters, I would then go in between your 2 quarters, so you've got 8 beads on in there. So I will put one exactly halfway between the 2 there, put another bead on. I'll keep turning it through 90 degrees. Put one there. I'm getting glue all over my fingers now, so things are sticking to me. It's not quite in the middle. There. Okay, another 40, 45, 90 degrees. Yeah, 90 is a quarter of a circle, isn't it? And put that there. And the last one of the white pearly beads is just going to sit right at the back where I joined the cord. Okay, so I'm not going to go all the way around because you would just be sitting watching me stick beads on, which wouldn't be very exciting. I'm going to fill in a little bit more of one side so you can see what it'll look like when it's finished. But if you look at it at that angle, you can see I've got 8 beads quite evenly spaced round now. So what I'm going to do now is looking at the gaps and the size of my little pearly beads, my little iridescent beads. I don't know whether you can see that because it's clear, but it is iridescent. I'm going to put 2 between each of the white pearl beads. So I shall just do that now. And what I will do is put glue between and stick them on 2 at a time, so you can see it filling the gap in. So one there, they're like a little sort of crystally with a pearlescent sheen. These are very nice. I think I bought them like a huge pack of hundreds because I seem to have had them for years and been using them. I tend to a lot of my beads are recycled. I think I'm going to be able to fit another one in there. I like to buy jewellery at charity shops and boot sales because I don't want to put extra plastic in the world, and I don't like to see plastic being thrown out, or glass or anything. In fact, I don't like to see anything being thrown out. So I buy jewellery at, as I say, second hand, and I take it apart and I reuse the beads. So nearly all the beads that you'll see me use when I'm doing any craft demonstration are recycled. I also recycle a lot of fabric. So I will, for instance, I wouldn't throw a pair of jeans away because there's so much you can make with a pair of jeans. T-shirts, I never throw clothing away, and I buy clothing as well. If I wanted to do something with velvet, I wouldn't dream of going out and buying a length of velvet, but I would look in a charity shop for a velvet dress or a velvet jacket or something like that. Same with lots of silks and satins. One year in December, I wanted to make Christmas stockings, and I saw in a local charity shop window a beautiful red satin evening dress, and they'd teamed it up with a white fur stole. And I thought, oh, that's exactly what I need. But I was very, very flattered that the lady in the charity shop said to me, and where are you going to wear it? Because the dress was a size 8 and I am a size 18, if anything. So I was very flattered when she thought I could actually get into this skinny little dress. But she was most amused when I said, oh no, I'm going to make Christmas stockings out of it. And it did make the most beautiful Christmas stockings. Right, I've nearly gone all the way around because I've been talking. So you can see now what it looks like when it's finished. I might just get one more bead in there. So, ignoring all our little strings of glue, and the cocktail stick has come out. There we go. So we've got our fabulous Faberge egg ready to go, and you can see it's catching the light a little bit. I'm just going to try and weed off a little bit of this glue. You can see it just comes easily, peels off. Quite therapeutic as well, peeling off the glue. Right, so the next thing I'm going to show you, I'm just going to put that slightly to one side, is I want to thread some beads onto the bottom to make a little, on this one I've used this pearl shaped bead and a pearl headed pin, but on this one I want to alternate some of the beads I've used on the middle of the egg. So I'm going to use a dressmaker's pin with a pearl head. You see that? And what I'm going to do is thread beads on it. The reason I'm using the one with the pearl head is instead of the little flat dressmaker pins I showed you before, is because they have a flat head and they go right through the hole in the beads. So what I'm going to do is thread on alternately a white one, a clear one. They're running away from me, the beads. Got to find the hole. And then another white one. Actually, I think I'll do that the other way around, because now I see it with the pearl head on the bottom. The pearl head looks like another bead, so I'm a little bit OCD about things being symmetrical. So I wouldn't like it to be too many, not alternating, but that's just me. So can you see that? So, and what you will do with that is you would just put that in the bottom of your egg right through till it's firmly up against the, actually that's a little bit off center just because I've had the cocktail stick in the bottom, so the hole is slightly off center. So that will hang, we'll get it right. There we go. So you can see it hangs down from the bottom. Right, so the last and final thing, mine's a little bit wonky, but I think that's because I'm demonstrating and I'm a bit nervous because I've not done this before. I'm going to put a hanger on it now. And what I'm going to use for the hanger is a piece of nice cream ribbon. Again, we use the flat dressmaker's pins. In order to hang it properly, what you need to do is make a loop where, let's move my beads out of the way, to make a loop that overlaps like that rather than doing it like that, like normally would, because then you get it doesn't sit properly when you put the pin through it. So what I would do is decide how long you want the loop and cut the ribbon, form your little loop like that, and then with your very flat dressmaker's pin, push it through so it goes through both layers and the pin sticks out like that, and then put the pin through the top of the egg, right through, and push it down. And you can see you get a nice hanging loop. So that's your fabulous Faberge egg. So I now have 2, and I'm going to hang them back on the tree. And I'll be back in just a second to show you the next egg. Right, so the next one we're going to do is the 3D paper egg. That's this one. So basically this is made using the egg template that was very kindly put up on the website. It's the one we're using is the 4-inch egg. And what you need is your egg template, your craft papers, mine are scrapbooking papers. You need 4 different ones, and you're going to cut 2 eggs of each out. So that's 8 eggs in total. You need a glue stick, which I cannot lay my hands on, just there we go. Glue stick. Glue stick's better for this because it's dry. It's a dry glue. It will stick straight away and stay stuck, but it isn't wet, so it's not going to distort your paper. And the last thing you need is ribbon for your hanger. Just bear with me a second. I know I've got all my bits and pieces in here. There we go. I've just got some fine pink ribbon. Right, so, and a pencil. You'll need a pencil. So what you want to do is stack up your papers, turn them up so the blank side's up. Place your template on and draw around it twice. So, one little tip when you're cutting them out, keep the 2 piles separate because you're going to have 2 eggs, 2 of each pattern, doing it this way. And what you don't want to do is get them together so you've got 2 patterns side by side. If you can see on my original one, each page, if you like, has got a different pattern on it, and you never got the same pattern twice together. When you've drawn around, you can put your egg template to one side. We won't need that for a while. Get your scissors and just cut round. I'm doing 4 sheets at once. I just find it's quicker, and your eggs templates are more the same shape. If you cut them all out separately, with the best will in the world, they're going to be always slightly different because unless you're cutting them on a machine, nobody can cut precisely. Try not to let your paper slip when you're cutting it because that will also. It's not too much of a worry. When you stick your egg together, if you've got any overlap, little white bits showing, you can just trim them off afterwards. So I'm going to cut round that one, and I'm going to put that pile to one side there so that I can use them later. And the reason I'm doing that, as I said before, is because I'll pick off each pile separately so that I end up not getting them two of the same pattern together. So I'll just keep going round and round. One of the tricks to cutting is to move your paper and not your scissors. to get a more accurate cut. I'm just going to pop that paper to one side now. So here I've got my 2 piles of patterned paper. Because of the patterning on the paper, they have come out slightly different. Now I lay mine out a bit like playing patience. I don't know whether you can see that. I might just move the camera back a little bit so you can see a bit better. So that I know I'm not picking the same ones. So if you go back the other way with your other ones, then you're not picking the same paper egg up each time. So I'm just going to move that back a little bit to give myself some room to work. So starting at one end, this is quite simple. Oh, the other thing you need to do actually before you start is cut your ribbon for your loop. You'll want that. So again, measure how long you want your loop to be, roughly, and then cut the ribbon. That's it. So that's ready for when we're ready to sandwich it between. So our glue stick's ready. This is a nice new one, so let's hope it's sticky enough. Right. Start with your first egg. What you're going to do is fold it down the long way, but you're going to fold it so the pattern's on the inside. So you want it to be in the middle of your egg. It might not be quite, there might be a little bit of overlap, but don't worry about that. It's just important that it's in the middle. Make a nice sharp crease and lay that one down like that. Then take your next pattern, do the same again. So a nice sharp crease. Right, we're going to glue these together now. So you need to make sure, because your egg has a narrow end and a wider end. So you want to make sure the wide ends are together on your 2 eggs. You're going to glue on one half. Just make sure you go right to the edge of the fold and right to the edge of the paper so that you get a nice stick down. What we're going to do now is match up the folds because they all need to come together in the middle. So you need to make sure that your folds match up more than the edges of your egg. So, and you see they're perfectly matched folds there. Okay, so you just keep going. Next paper, nice sharp fold. If you haven't made an Easter tree yet, but you fancy making one, it's not too late. At this time of year, particularly, if you find twigs that are not on the branch, if you like, they will be dried out quite a bit. So you can just do your spray painting. If you do get live branches, you might need to just let them dry out for a bit. So I did was stand mine in the garage to make sure that they were dried out properly. So again, we keep making sure we keep the folded edge as close together as possible, so that's nice and flat in there. So I've done 4 now. So what I want to do is think about putting the ribbon loop in. So I'm going to just put that in there, and then I will put the other one in sandwich between 2 others. So again, I need to start at that end because those 2 are the same. It's worth keeping an eye on it. Even if you do lay them out like this, you could still end up putting two together that are the same. Keep gluing, matching up your folds. So as I was saying about your Easter tree, if you want to make one, you don't have to make one. You can buy them. You can buy twig trees at like Hobbycraft, and quite a lot of like home decor places might have them. I don't know whether you have a range near you, but that's the sort of place you could probably buy them. Some of them are quite nice and have lights on, like fairy lights built in. I might put some fairy lights around mine. I haven't yet, but I think I might, because I have some battery operated ones that I used at Christmas. I'm also going to put mine out in the porch. I have a big porch at the front of the house because the village I live in, Elswick, all through lockdown, they've been really good about putting things out so the kids can have a walk and spot stuff. So we did a bear hunt, so we all put a bear in the window. And when they started doing the rainbows, we put rainbows in. So the kids could walk around the village and have something to look for. So it's like a little game, like a little treasure hunt. So I'm going slightly off here. Right, so we're about ready. This is our last of our eggs. So we're about ready, I would say, to put the second part of the ribbon in. So when I glue this, I'm going to lay the ribbon in. So I'm going to put it in quite a way so that I know it's held securely when the glue dries. And that's the last of my eggs going on. Give it a good firm press. And you can see how it's starting to get its 3D effect. You can also see there are a few white bits on where it hasn't quite met, but I will trim those off. So your last stick, if you like, is to stick the two ends together. Let's fluff on my glue now. So glue all over one side and then bring them up together like that. I have got that one's got a very skew width actually, so I might have to trim that quite a bit. And then you just spread out your pages or sections. It's a bit like a grapefruit, but that's your 3D egg. And as it gently spins, you get to see all the different colours in it. Now, I love that. I think that's really nice. As I said before, I have got one or two sections where the white is showing. So I'm just going to give them a quick trim with my scissors. So basically, you're just going to trim off the offending bit, if you like, the white bit, so that you don't have that little edge. You can see now it's gone. So I would do that all the way around. I'm not going to do it all the way around now because that's a bit boring. And that is virtually finished. So there we go. That is very simple, very effective. That's the one I made earlier. So I'm going to pop them back on the tray just now. Oh, right. So we're on to our final egg. This is the 2D one. This is the simplest of them all. It'd be great to do with your kids. If you've got kids, this one. I'm going to put away that. So this uses the larger egg. This one is 5 inches, 5 inches from top to bottom. So out of your egg template, I always copy mine onto card when I print out my templates because I'll use them over and over again, and card is a little bit more durable. Now, there are two ways to do this. You can either use craft paper similar to what we used for the 3D egg, in which case you cut out two egg shapes and you'll glue them together. Or I was lucky enough to be given some card that's double-sided. So it's got a pattern on both sides, different pattern on both sides. I think this came from Home Bargains. So if you have a Home Bargains in your area, it's worth going and having a look. I'm not going to use this one today, or I might see how much time I got, but I'm going to show you with paper because it's more likely that you've got paper. Now, these are the papers I'm going to use. They're very similar, but in two different colours. So they're a kind of colour background with a nice sort of almost Jacobean flower pattern on. So they're different colours, but you get the contrast then. So you take your two pieces of paper, put them right sides together, because then when you draw around your egg, you can flip them and they will just fit nicely. Put your egg on, draw around it. And then just cut it out, holding them together so that you get the same cut. I always like cutting out. I find cutting out very therapeutic. I don't know about anybody else. Then sorting beads and buttons. Buttons are another thing that I always recycle as well. Sometimes my husband says, you'll cut buttons off that shirt before I've even worn it, but that's not true. So we've now got our 2 eggs and we're going to glue them together. So just glue one side. If your paper's quite thin, you might want to put a piece of card and in between. You can use any sort of paper really, even wrapping paper you could use, but as wrapping paper is quite thin, I would do a card section. So you have 3 eggs and you sandwich the card in between them, just because it will make it that bit stiffer. My scrapbook paper is quite thick anyway. Again, don't worry too much if you get a little bit of a white edge showing, because we can trim that off. So now you can see we've got our double-sided egg. And I'm just going to trim around the edge a little bit, get rid of that little bit of extra paper. So if you were using ribbon to hang these, you could sandwich the ribbon in between. But because I'm going to use some string, some jute string, which I think is quite rustic, and I like it, I'm not going to sandwich it in between. I'm going to make a hole in the egg to hang it. There's just another little bit of white showing there. So I'll just trim. There we go. There's those pieces. So I get my string. So I've got this jute string, which I really like. I use it for lots of things. I've also got here, which I could also use, butcher's string, which is nice because it's usually 2 colours. So there's the red and white one there, and there's green and white one. But I'm not going to use those today. I also have in here, which is dead handy, if you ever see these, it's a single hole punch. It's really good for just doing one hole. You can manage it with a double hole punch if you want. So what I'm going to do is make sure that my hole is in the right place and just punch through. And I've got a nice neat hole. And then all I'm going to do is measure my string, a little bit extra because you will tie a knot in this. Put my string, feed it through and just tie it with a knot at the top. And there it is, ready to hang on your tree. Okay, so I will put that on my tree and I will get down a few of the other ones I've done to just give you a quick demo, quick show and tell of what you can do with them. Right, so I'll just grab a few of these different ones that you haven't seen yet, and then we can have a quick look at some different ideas that you can have a go at when you start to do your tree. My tree's got so many tiny little branches on it because that was what the twig was like. But it does take a little while to get things off it. I should point you back up really, and then you can see. So I'm just going to point you back up. Just bear with me a second. Hello. Nice to be back. I think I'm a little bit tilted there. Yeah, so what I've got here are a few other eggs that I've done. I painted quite a lot of them with acrylic paint in different colours. So this one, I've just drawn a little frieze of flowers on it with just Sharpie pens, just with marker pens. And I've used a bit of nice orange rickrack braid. Again, it's got a pin in it. So I quite like that one. It's nice and spring-like. This one I've just decorated with ribbon. So I've gone through the quarters with just a plain cream ribbon and then put this, I don't know whether you can see that ribbon's decorated with little flowers. It's more like a little braid. And again, a little hanger on the top. This one is that's another acrylic painted one. This is one of the little eggs. And I've put around it some flower braid that I had. Or you could put rickrack braid or any other kind of fancy braid that you happen to have. This one's interesting because this is one of the ones I spray painted, but I quite like the effect after it had bubbled up. So can you see that it's got that kind of mottled. I think it looks like, to me, it looks a bit like one of the dragon eggs in Game of Thrones. I don't know whether you watch Game of Thrones, but it's got that sort of texture to it. I still quite like it, so I've hung it anyway. And the last one I'm going to show you, this is one of the ones I've decorated to look like a natural egg. It's the one, the polystyrene egg painted with some emulsion. And then I have done a little speckled dots on it, little sort of like a bird's egg. Yeah. This is one of the bigger eggs, so you would say maybe a seagull's egg. But the little tiny eggs that come in the pack, they'd be really nice done as bird's eggs. And you could maybe make a wreath and attach them to that, or make a little fake bird's nest and put them in. Well, that's everything I wanted to show you today. I hope you've enjoyed it. This is the first one I've done for the virtual village hall. If you like what you've seen, then let me know. I appreciate loads of comments because I like to have feedback. Even criticism's good because then I know what I'm doing wrong. If you want to check out some more of my work, then if you look on my Facebook page, either search for what Kate made, or on the post on the virtual village hall, there's a link to my website, to my Facebook page. I'm also on Instagram, again, KN65, if you want to search for me on Instagram. I have a Pinterest business page. I'm all over the social media, down with the kids. Again, what Kate made, if you search. And I am currently building a website so that I can start a blog. Again, whatkatemade.com. It's under construction. There's not a lot on it yet. I might do a bit of work on that this afternoon. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed seeing how to decorate your Easter tree with all the different ideas I've had. And happy Easter. And I'll join you, hopefully. We'll see you again. Goodbye.